Hello and welcome to episode 44 of Hello Nintendo. This is the Video Game Awards Edition 2018 Nintendo version. It is already halfway through the month of January, but that's okay because we have a lot of fun and unique awards coming your way. Joining me today as usual are Michael and Sam. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Happy to be here.
I'm angry. Where's my Nintendo Direct? We were promised a Nintendo Direct every January. Where's my Nintendo Direct, Reggie?
I'm happy there is no Nintendo Direct. I like them just doing tweets. I'd rather just get a bunch of tweets and then 3 Directs throughout the year.
Everyone knows that Christmas Day, you open up all your games, and then you got 6 days to play the games. As soon as January 1st comes around, you put all your games in the bin, you start waiting for the Nintendo Direct.
It's already 17 days too, and we have no more information on Animal Crossing Switch, which we're counting the days down till that because I don't know. I don't know what a direct would have shown.
No, there's nothing to announce really. I mean, Yoshi's coming soon, but you know the gist of the game, you know what it is. Anything more that they can show you will just ruin the surprise of playing it. Kirby's Epic Yarn. That's literally a remake. We know everything about that, even before playing it. Maybe they'll add an amiibo feature. That's about it.
I think the biggest announcement was Dragon's Lair Trilogy, which was pretty much the only major game that I remember. The rest are indies, and then just release dates for all those Final Fantasy ports, which is nice as well.
And Dragon's Dogma is supposed to be good. Never played it.
I've never heard of it until they put that tweet out, so I feel kind of bad for never having heard of it. But
You can't have heard of every game.
no, I'm still trying to catch up on beating Mario Brothers 3. I'm a little bit behind my time. So with that, what have you been playing recently? Sam, we'll start with you.
I played Braid on Xbox 360 again. I played it for the first time when it came out, which was August 09. I think so. August 09. And I sucked at it. I wasn't patient enough to try and solve puzzles. And I was stupid. And I used a walkthrough to beat it, which the creator trolls you on his website. He's got a guide on the game, a spoiler-free guide on the game, which is literally the controls, how to move, and he's like, yeah, figure the rest out yourself. But actually, coming back to it when I was older and smarter and a much more patient gamer than I used to be, it's really fun. It's really good puzzles. Perfect length as well. Braid is the indie title that launched indie gaming as obviously not as a legitimate venture, but it catapulted indie gaming from you downloading free games off the internet to a hit, a genuine hit that he could make a living from, which channeled the production of his next game. It's really good, and it should be on Switch. It probably won't, but there's a good indie game that should be on Switch. Other than that, been playing more Batman, and I played Bandersnatch on Netflix, if that counts, but not really.
I've actually never heard of Braid until now, so I'm glad that you brought it up.
What on earth is Dragon's Dogma? You haven't heard of Braid?
No. Like I said, I'm a little bit behind.
Yeah, but it came out 10 years ago, so this is... if you watch... It's the subject of Indie Game, the movie, which is a documentary about the development of Braid, Super Meat Boy, and Fez. Braid is one of the quintessential cornerstone games. It marked the beginning of an era, and it definitely led a indie gaming renaissance. It's not a renaissance, but something. It led something.
Yeah, see, I've played a lot of Fez when I had a PS4, and when that was one of the first free games they gave away, and I really like Fez. I'll look at Braid. But yeah, I've never heard of it. So good. Glad that you brought it up. I have been playing more Mario Brothers 3. I'm speaking of being like way back. I'm getting through it. I'm in World 6. Yeah, World 6. It gets a lot better as you go. The game starts out fairly simple, and then it gets a little bit frustrating in the water levels. I hate water levels in platforming games. But World 6, I believe, is the Sky World, or maybe that's World 5. I think World 5 is the Sky World. It's actually really fun. You see them start to do a lot of creative things with the platforms, switch up commands, use spinning platforms as windmills to blow you along. It's a really neat game. And also still working my way through Octopath Traveler, which is actually going a lot faster than I thought.
How far are you in Octopath?
I'm almost to the halfway point, actually. I'm at a level now where I can pretty much get through the rest of the. There's each character has 4 chapters. So I've done 2 of the 2 chapter 2 parts of the game. So I have 6 left, but I've also spent a lot of time leveling up and doing a lot of side quests, which you kind of have to do before you start each chapter. So I can easily each chapter is maybe an hour of gameplay, and you of course there's a boss at the end of each one that has a unique skill. Like one locks you out from damaging him until you beat other little minions in front of him, and then just things like that. And then you have to figure out, of course, how to break them, and it all ties back into the battle system. So it keeps it unique because each boss is different. So it's been a lot of fun, but it's going a lot faster than I thought, which is a good thing.
Are you playing what version of Mario Bros. 3 are you playing?
I am playing on the NES, not the NES Classic, but the NES Online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, on the Switch Online. So I guess it's the original version of Mario Brothers 3, because there's still like all the, I don't know if you want to call it glitches, it's more rendering of the graphics as you move along. You kind of see on the right side of the screen it blinks a lot.
How does that emulate? So are there like what's it called? Save states.
There are save states, and I'm using that, which is probably cheating, but I'm terrible at platformers, and it's the only way I'd ever get through it.
No, the only version I played is the All-Stars version on the SNES, and I beat that game once, and since then I've replayed it quite a lot of times as a kid, and I've never got past the water world again. It's too difficult. It's a difficult game.
It really is. And the save states are really saving me from a lot of frustration. It's a lot more difficult than I anticipated. It's a little bit different. I like it though. It's not one of my favorites, but I do like it. It's been enjoyable to kind of see, because I've never having played it, I feel like I missed out on a part of Mario history. So it's kind of fun to retrospectively go back and see how this series has evolved since then.
I played it myself, but the only way I got through it was with my friend who's much more skilled than me. We played it over NetPlay. I think we were using the Wii version of Super Mario All-Stars, and we played it over Dolphin. And yeah, he basically carried us through it. Every so often I might be able to get past a certain portion of the game that he was having trouble with. But other than that, it was pretty much him who played it, and I more so watched, especially the last half of it. But yeah, playing it alone, I don't know if I could do it. It sounds like it's quite the journey. So if you do finish, that'll be quite the accomplishment.
The one thing I'm glad about is the boss fights, if you want to call them that. The Koopa Kids are not super difficult to beat. It's usually just tap on them 3 times, and they kind of have a pattern of, if you just jump around and run around, you can get away from them, and then time it where you hit them in the head. So that's not too bad, which is a good thing, because you get some platforming games like Donkey Kong Country, and the bosses are incredibly difficult and incredibly hard to beat, which is good. They're all enjoyable, which adds to the enjoyment of the game. But yeah, if Mario Brothers 3 had awful boss fights, it might just be a little bit too much. So, Michael, what have you been playing?
Well, I finished Spikes. That's what you're supposed to call VVVVVV, according to you. So I'm gonna go with that. I finally beat Spikes. I have 16 out of 20 collectibles in there, and so I guess in a way I'm 80% done. But whatever. I don't think I'm going to torture myself because one of them in particular is practically impossible to get. I don't know how people do it.
No, it's not. You're on about Vini Vidi Vici, I'm sure.
Yes, I am. There is no way. I've spent an hour and a half of great frustration and lack of proper hand coordination to master it. It's just very difficult. I know people have clearly done it, but wow, that's something else for me.
No, you can't stop. I'm not giving you permission.
Okay, fine.
What's the furthest you've got? So, we should explain. Sorry for the listeners. If you haven't played VVVVV, there's a notoriously difficult optional collectible where you have to survive. I think 7 very difficult screens all in a go, and then you literally got half a second to get yourself back together and do it all again in reverse to get a collectible. Entirely optional, but that's the hardest challenge of the game, and it's satisfying as hell when you do it.
Yes, and I think there's about 5. It's basically this cave of spikes, you could call it, that you're jumping through. And I think it's like 5 screens to go through, so maybe a total of, since you go through each screen twice, in a way it's like going through 20 dangerous screens on both sides. So it's just very difficult. And the other thing is I'm missing 3 others as well. You need 2 more to unlock some final mode. So I could at least go back and get those 2, but there's 2 squares in the map that I have no idea how to get to. So there's that part where I could go back and figure out how to master it. But for the moment, what I did is I played this backup game, which is also a precision platformer, but it's a lot easier. It's called Jack and Jill DX. And the only reason I bought it was because it looks like a Game Boy game. I didn't know it was going to be a precision platformer, but it's actually a runner. So you just press the A button at key moments. So I'm nearly done with that because it's just so much easier. Because one of the benefits of once you play through Spikes, you in general get a lot better at games. So it's been a training session. So I've played through Jack and Jill DX, but I'm going to be done with it today, I think. So once I'm done with that 50-cent or $1 game I got, I'm going to have to consider Spikes again, or perhaps taking another detour through some other game to try and calm down and then get into the mode where I can finally get through that last portion of Spikes that I'm struggling with right now. So we'll see what happens. I wish I could predict, but it's so entirely dependent on mood. It just, who knows what will happen.
I should probably go play Spikes to get better at platformers, because I am truly awful at platformers.
With Spikes, when you die, you never lose more than 30 seconds of progress in total. Even Vini Vidi Vici is quite a short challenge, even if it's extremely hard, it's just nice. I like that in a game.
Video Game Awards 2018. What we have been doing on our Nintendo over about the past 2 weeks is allowing our users to submit different nominations for games and moments, or literally alternative awards, for about 15 different categories, ranging from Best Nintendo Moment, Best Writing, Favorite Nintendo Switch Title, to Most Anticipated Games of 2019. With these nominations now in the book, and the voting on this by the community is going to start in probably the next day, I believe, we're going to talk about some of these nominations and kind of give what we think should be winning. So let's start with Best Nintendo Moment. We have 5 options here. The Animal Crossing 2019 reveal, which was Tom Nook either getting a lot of... He got memed from that reveal because he looked like he looked very Tom Nookish in the worst way possible. We have the Everyone Is Here trailer, Super Smash Bros. The King K. Rool comes aboard trailer from Super Smash Bros. The Nintendo glorified cardboard box Labo reveal, and the Take Your Heart Joker reveal for Joker Persona 5 as a DLC character later this year. Best Nintendo moment, which of these 5 deserve it?
Everybody's here. Like, it's tough for me between the K. Rool reveal and the Everybody Is Here reveal, but I think the amount of emotions I went through with that one trailer, just that, I don't know, it was the introduction to it. Oh, this is the characters we'll be including. Here's some of the returning fighters, and the number is the order they entered Smash Bros. And then you see a couple familiar faces. You saw Ice Climbers and somebody else. Yeah, a couple of the DLC characters from Smash 4. You're like, oh, wow, this is quite a solid cast. A few returning favourites. Really good. And then that moment where it freezes and Snake's revealed, heart leaping out your chest. You're like, they haven't gone and done it, have they? And then, I don't know. Something about Young Link really got to me. A lot of memories of playing Melee. I know Toon Link and Young Link are the same, and I don't have a particular hatred of cel-shaded Link like some Zelda fans do. But seeing Young Link again made me well up a little bit. It was tour de force.
Yeah, I would agree that the Everyone Is Here trailer wins. I'm the same. Either King K. Rool or Everyone Is Here, and I feel like by obligation of more people, more characters, Everyone Is Here should win for every reason you said.
I totally agree as well. Everyone Is Here is pretty much undefeatable in this instance. I happen to nominate the Smash reveal period where it just showed the reflection of the Smash logo in Squid Girl's eye, and that was really neat. But you really can't beat something like an announcement that literally everything that's ever been done in an entire series will be available in the latest release of that game. And so, I don't know, it's just uncontestable in my mind.
So that with that sweep, I have a feeling that is probably going to take that's going to win by a 75% voting, I feel like. Oh, maybe I don't know. I feel like that's going to win in a landslide in the community vote as well.
The way that the voting system where you choose your top 3, the way the voting system is set up this time, just because it's a bit... When we get to them, for games like multiplayer, I'm skipping ahead here, where Smash Bros is going to win. Let's face it, but we want to celebrate the other games too. We don't want to just have one game that wins and then everybody else gets left in the dust. So the voting system this year, you choose your first place, second place, and third place. So nobody's going to dominate it. Even Smash for multiplayer. Yes, Smash for multiplayer will win. There's no doubt about that. But it'd be nice to see some other games get some love as well. So I don't think anything can take it up to 75%. I can't do the maths to figure out what the highest possible score something can get is.
It would be... Yeah, I can't do math. I can't do podcast math on the fly. So let's move on to something we can all do better at. Best Writing. The games that we have nominated here are Celeste, Octopath Traveler, Torna the Golden Country, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Wandersong, and WarioWare Gold.
Did you call it Celeste?
Yeah, how should I be pronouncing it?
I think it's just Celeste, isn't it?
That's how I've heard people say it, so I don't know for sure, to be honest.
Sorry, I'm sorry, such a jerk laughing at that.
That's gonna be. I've always pronounced it as Celeste, kind of Lakitu, or I always called him Lakitu as well. So, yeah, I have fun making up pronunciation, I guess.
Oh, I use Lakitu and Lakitu interchangeably.
Yeah, that's the thing about games. There's a lot of words in games that you never actually hear said out loud. Sometimes it's just a matter of guessing. So
In the Slack the other day, pronouncing it Hyrule, but also Hylian. That doesn't make sense. It should be Hylian if it's Hyrule. But no, I've been saying Hylian all my life.
yeah, same here. But I have heard that word said out loud, and evidently it is Hylian. But whatever, Hylian just sounds nicer to me, so I'm gonna keep doing it.
Hylian would make well, do they live in the hills? Okay. That'd be a bad pun. I don't think they did that. So, for best writing, I actually nominated Octopath Traveler for this one, and it was kind of the reason I nominated it was the lack of writing that they had in the game. A better way to put it would be the writing didn't get in the way of the gameplay. To not go on a whole long rant, but I feel like the focus of Octopath Traveler really is the combat system and the individual characters. So having this really overarching story, which is your typical, and we're gonna pick on Xenoblade and some other RPGs here, your typical RPG story of forgotten protagonist, underdog protagonist goes and saves everybody from impending doom. Octopath Traveler is very much the opposite, where there's no overwhelming impending doom. It is individual characters, some who are truly awful. You can play as a thief who just likes to steal things, and you also play as an assassin who says, this is a bit of a spoiler, but I'm not saying the character, who says murder is the only thing he or she, to just not reveal who the character is, he or she believes in anymore. So there's a really good revenge plot. There is a really good individual characterization when you get into the writing. And I speak out of both sides of my mouth here because some of the writing can get a little bit cringy when you look at the Old English that they try to force on Hannett or Tressa. It's pretty laughable. It gets a little bit comedic. The translation and localization did not work out so great there. I'm not sure how it works in the Japanese version. But more so than just the individual, like what the characters say, there are some really good puns in there that I can appreciate. It takes stabs at itself. There's some fourth wall breaking. But overall, just the way that they wrote this individual stories to have slight interaction, enough to make your party feel cohesive, but also not so much where it overwhelms the main point of why you're playing.
I nominated WarioWare Gold simply because I really appreciate a game that can make me laugh. And WarioWare performs an incredible feat where it's got 200 odd mini games and they all make you laugh. Each mini game is a joke, basically, and it'll be a joke with several different forms. And it's a game where you see these mini games again and again, and they make you laugh again and again. And that's, I don't know. I think that's a really incredible gift that we have. And it's toilet humor, but it's good toilet humor. It's funny. I think that's cause for celebration. It's not the traditional heavy plot nomination for a best story. I don't care for the story or the cutscenes in WarioWare Gold so much. It's still good writing. And I hope it wins.
To be honest, I didn't play any of these games yet, except Octopath Traveler a little bit. I think I nominated Celeste, to be honest, and that was because even though I haven't played much of it at all, I have heard so much about what the story is about and just observed the impact that all these different games had on people over the course of them coming out and people playing them over the last few months. And Celeste really seemed to have a huge impact on people. I'm not sure how intricate the writing or dialogue actually is, but at least the overall theme of dealing with mental illness such as depression or anxiety and then kind of climbing the mountain of it and then overcoming it, or at least finding ways to deal with the fact that this is something you have, but learning how to thrive anyways. I think that that's a very beautiful storyline that really seemed to touch close to home for a lot of people. It was all over the Game Awards even as well, and so for that reason, I speculated that it would have the best writing out of all the options I could think of when I nominated it. So I'm going to preemptively say I think Celeste is gonna win this one.
I've not played Celeste, but if I ever do, I may come back and agree with you. Moving on to Best Visual Design. For this, we have Gris, Hollow Knight, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, Octopath Traveler, The World Ends With You Final Remix. I'm going to go ahead and get mine out of the way, probably predictable after the last one. Octopath Traveler, I love the 2D style. I love Final Fantasy VI is one of my favorite games, so seeing a kind of a redone homage to that era of RPGs is really cool. The graphics are beautiful. They built a lot of detail in and kind of developed a new HD way to present the 2D graphic genre.
I agree completely. Again, this isn't a game I've played that much of, but it's certainly something that you see and is pretty difficult to miss if you pay attention to gaming at all. And Octopath Traveler is just this awesome graphical style, mixing all sorts of different art styles into one that really go well together in ways that you might not have thought would work, but it does. And so I think that that's a very creative art style. The rest are, of course, beautiful games as well in terms of visual design, and there's no denying that. But I really feel like Octopath Traveler was the most creative in this space of all. So that's where my nomination is.
Best Audio Design. We have Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Octopath Traveler, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Undertale, or Wandersong.
So audio design doesn't just cover soundtrack, but this is basically the best soundtrack vote. Smash has all these incredible little touches hidden everywhere. It deserves to win for Richter just muttering about Dracula in his sleep alone. Just this tiny little thing. You only get put to sleep very rarely by a couple of characters like Jigglypuff. And then he has a nightmare about Dracula while he does it. And you can only hear it really if you go in the sound test mode and isolate that bit of audio. It's such a ridiculous detail, part of the really incredible package that is Smash Bros. Ultimate. But of course the soundtrack's amazing as well. And these remixes, new to the Switch version, are gorgeous. That new version of Gangplank Galleon that was in the K-Roll reveal trailer is just really, really good.
I also nominated Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I got a little bit carried away in my nominating process, but it has 800 tracks, 112 new remixes, and like you said, the detail is absolutely incredible. The sound of the game is pretty awesome when you just the impact of the punches and launching your characters off stage. It makes it feel all the more successful when you get a KO, and it makes it feel all the more painful when you get KO'd. I'm not sure if that's just because it's on Switch hardware and we're in a new generation, but it feels more impactful than any. Oh, and the controller vibrating too. We can include that in audio design because that's a auditory feedback as well, biofeedback we can include in here. And also the new remixes I listened to some of them, and it's not just that they did remixes, they really took care to make sure that these remixes were attentive to the theme of a fighting game. And they took more care than just to add in a heavy theme to it, a fighting game theme to it. They really built upon the original theme, but heightened the urgency in each track to make it sound still like it came from the game that it originated from. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going to cut myself off there to save from just reading what I wrote in the nomination process. But they did an incredible job.
I just completely agree with both of you. Super Smash Brothers, in terms of all the Super Smash Bros, really, in terms of all the in-game audio that's new or improved upon, it's beautiful. And of course, it's really hard to argue with the fact that the entire discography of the entire series is just available to you and playable. Even with the Switch off, you can use it as this big old MP3 player if you want. And that's just part of the audio design of the game itself. And I think that it's pretty much the ultimate audio experience on the Switch right now. It doesn't really get more incredible at this point. So just like everyone's here did, every audio is here, every song is here is also a component of Ultimate, and that's what makes it the ultimate experience.
Moving on, we now have favorite single-player game. Celeste, Hollow Knight, Octopath Traveler, Torna the Golden Country, Wandersong. And mine's pretty obvious. I'm going to continue the theme of Octopath Traveler here. Amazing fighting mechanics. I've mentioned a lot of this, but for those who have not heard, they really take time to make sure each character has a unique trait, has a unique presentation to how they fight, to overworld abilities, to how they interact with the world and the enemies. Really fun.
I'm really proud of how many indie games and made this list. They made the short list. And Octopath Traveler and Torna certainly aren't indie games, but they are niche games. They're not AAA in your face crowd pleasers. They have a particular audience. So maybe it just shows that there weren't a wealth of fun single player experiences on Switch this year. But to be honest, it's great to see the rise of the indie and the smaller developers being nominated for these sort of awards. Celeste, incredible platformer, same as Hollow Knight, and Torna the Golden Country is like a nice answers criticisms about Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's a bit of a mature storyline. It was an interesting year this year for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't played any of these games. They're pretty similar to what we've already been discussing. However, it is notable, like you said, that all these indie games are here. Usually that's a space occupied by AAA games. But as AAA games often focus on maybe multiplayer components, the indie space starts to take over where the AAAs have left off, and it's just pretty. You can have an incredible experience with any of these games. It's just interesting to me how exciting the Switch is in terms of all these different games that are available. But yeah, like I said, I haven't played any of these. If I had to venture a guess, I might guess Octopath Traveler, which isn't an indie game, but it is certainly something that I think has been the most impactful in terms of a single player experience. It seems to have gotten people into RPGs again, when oftentimes that's the type of genre that the general population starts to avoid a bit more. But this one captured people's attention just because of how beautiful it is. So that's awesome.
I'd put my money on Celeste winning. I feel like a lot of people, like you were saying earlier, Michael, a lot of people impacted by this game. And I feel like as a favorite single player game, people are going to kind of go off that experience.
I can't wait to play these games this year. That'd be my New Year's resolution, to play some of the games that win Best of 2018.
I really want to try Hollow Knight. I'd like to try that this year. Our next category, favorite multiplayer game. We have Kirby Star Allies, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, Mario Tennis Aces, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Warframe. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate wins.
Yeah, that's not worth it talking about. But what was second best?
I'm a huge Monster Hunter fan. Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate takes it for me, but that's a little bit of a niche game compared to the others, so I have a feeling that won't win. But when you can spend 100 hours in a game and not get bored with it, playing with other people, that's a pretty compelling multiplayer game. However, I get that it's a niche title for a reason. Not everybody is as compelled as I am by it.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I would go for Monster Hunter Generations too. I don't own that particular Monster Hunter, but I have played plenty of Monster Hunters, and so I think I would go for that as well. My third best might be Kirby Star Allies, just because it's like, just as everyone is here for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, in Kirby Star Allies, they bring back so many characters from across the series, and that's pretty great for people like myself who respond to nostalgia bait. So that's pretty cool just to see.
Sam, you were bringing this up before we start recording, but I'm actually surprised Mario Tennis Aces is on here because it had such a... the online seemed so wonky at launch. I'm surprised that Super Mario Party is not on here, and credit to you, Sam, for bringing that up before we started recording.
Yeah, Super Mario Party didn't get nominated at all, I don't think. Overcooked 2 was supposed to be an incredible multiplayer game this year, really fun. People raved a lot about the first one. Maybe it just came out a bit too soon to the first one, and people have had their Overcooked fill, which is why Overcooked 2 didn't get a look in this year. Jackbox Party Pack 5 would have been my personal nomination for best multiplayer game this year. The Jackbox Party Packs are all really fun, really social games that anybody can play. Don't need to be a gamer. You just play along on your phone, competing or making fun of each other. And the fifth one's got a really, really fun rap battle game where you got to make up disses about your friends. But the Switch has got no shortage of multiplayer games, where it might have had a lack of that traditional single player experience that you find on the competing consoles. It is easily the best console for multiplayer, just like the Wii U kind of was.
Favorite amiibo: Detective Pikachu, Loot Goblin, Octoling Octopus, Ridley, and Solaire. I don't own any amiibos, so I'm going to pass on this one.
Amiibo sort of came back this year, didn't they? After a little time off from relevance. Detective Pikachu shouldn't have been nominated, and Mike's to blame for that one. But we had this conversation on the podcast before. It's literally the most useless amiibo of all of them. It unlocks content which I hesitate to say any content should have been in the game when I hear this argument about amiibo. It's like, well, no, not necessarily. It's not really a required feature, and if they want to put it behind an amiibo, then that's their... I don't like to defend stuff that's anti-consumer, but I wouldn't necessarily always label it as anti-consumer. But Detective Pikachu is an amiibo for a kids game. This is a kids game. It's too easy to be an adult's game. It's a game for young children, and the amiibo lets them see the cutscenes again without playing the game again. It unlocks a movie viewing mode, which is appalling, honestly, to me. I'm really angry that I got nominated. Also, I don't care that it's bigger because it's not a very interesting model. Pikachu is cute, yeah, but there's not much to it. He's a big old lumpy pillow of a Pokemon. He's got a tail, but it's not the intricate, because it's more expensive than regular amiibo because it's bigger. But I would say Ridley's more value for money. A lot more detail in that figure than big old dumb Pikachu.
Well, obviously,
I don't know why I'm so
we're
angry.
on opposite ends of the spectrum here on Detective Pikachu because, like you said, I am the one who nominated it. And it's because there's just something so novel to me about having a giant amiibo. It's kind of scary also, because what if they try to re-release a bunch of amiibo and just say, oh, it's the giant version or the new Amiibo XL? That will be terrifying. But you're right in terms of the functionality. There's definitely nothing good about that, and I think that could be said of a number of amiibo, to be honest. Even the Loot Goblin amiibo, for instance, it just helps you cheat in Diablo a bit more, and that's all there is to it. I forget what Solaire does in Dark Souls. But anyways, for me, my main consideration was honestly, I was just being really shallow and going, wow, it's a cool big amiibo and it's made of plastic. Wow, that's awesome. And that's kind of my whole consideration. But you are right. I mean, if there's any character that we've seen enough of in the universe, it may be Pikachu, because Pikachu is just everywhere. And so, yeah, in terms of the actual interestingness of Pikachu with a hat looking happy, that's not that exciting.
It doesn't even work as a generic Pikachu amiibo, because Detective Pikachu is a completely different character, and we wouldn't want to confuse anybody by letting them use the Detective Pikachu as a Pikachu in Smash. No, that would be terrible. It's a completely different character. Cannot let it happen. It's locked to one game. Makes me
Wow,
so
yeah, that's bad. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty bad. Because that would be part of the fun of it, to make it a lot longer lasting, just to take it over to a friend's house while you're playing Ultimate and say, hey, let me show you my Pikachu, and you just bust out big old Detective Pikachu out of your backpack or whatever, and just to show off, just to be this vain, pretentious, annoying person. And you see, to me, there's a lot of value in that, but of course, like you said, it's just locked into Detective Pikachu, the game, which I'm not even sure if people bought much. I haven't seen the sales on it, but it's probably not that much. I'm sure it's relatively successful, but certainly not something that people are guaranteed to own. So yeah, it's kind of relegated to just that one specific scenario, and that's pretty disappointing.
It should be won by Ridley or Solaire. I can't believe Ridley got an amiibo. I can't believe Ridley's in Smash, guys.
Yeah, that was a pipe dream for the longest time, and then all of a sudden it happened. So here we are, the new Nintendo 2018, just constantly surprising us.
And we've sent Alex to sleep with our boring amiibo arguments that he doesn't care about.
It's all good. I enjoyed the debate about the big ball of plastic that is Detective Pikachu. Favorite eShop title: Celeste, Hollow Knight, Okami HD, Undertale, Wandersong.
Well, I'm gonna have to go for Okami HD here. This is a game I've wanted for a long time, and for one reason or another, I never bought it until now. So I think it first came out on the PlayStation 2, and I was holding out for a GameCube release for some reason, which never happened. And I'm pretty sure it was released as an HD edition on PS3 and PS4, and then all of a sudden we have it on Switch, so this is perfect. And also, it was a Wii game as well. Let's not forget that. But
Yeah,
I didn't buy it during that era either. I just didn't end up buying it for some reason. For one thing, I bought a Wii pretty late. I bought it in 2009, 2010. And then I bought the Wii U in 2013, I think it was. So I only had 3 years with the Wii, and I was already busy with real life, and then I only played a few Wii games as well. So that whole era I've just underplayed the whole PS3 through PS4, Wii through Wii U era. I'm just going to be catching up forever, basically. And that was one of the games that I just never bought, but now it's here on Switch, and that's awesome because I know the motion controls are actually considered a major enhancement to the game, but nonetheless, in terms of convenience and ability to just play it and get through the game, obviously being on the Switch makes it playable, makes it a lot easier to get through. I mean, so yeah, I'm really excited about Okami HD. I'm really surprised there's no physical edition for it, but as a guy who buys digital games anyways, it's not a big deal to me.
I love Okami. And I'm glad it's back. I know it's a remake and it shouldn't really deserve to win, but it's a really, really good game. It's kind of like 3 games all in one, because every time you think it ends, it gives you a lot more game. It's a big old beastie game. Really, really good value for money. Definitely a must-buy for Wii. For Switch. And for Wii, but for Switch.
Okami is one of those games I've wanted to play, and I just never have, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to it. Maybe next year, talking 2020? I don't know, though.
You gotta set yourself a lot of time for it. It's too long. I think that's fair to say. It's a criticism.
That is the reason I haven't bought it yet, because I looked up how long it is to beat, and it's usually about 45 to 50 hours, and I'm like, oh wow, I don't know if I want to invest that much time when I'm already trying to spend a year getting through one RPG.
Yeah, and like your traditional Zeldas, if you love the worlds and you're exploring the worlds and you go off the beaten track of the story, then that 40 to 50 hours is a lot longer. Because considering how beautiful that game is, unique cel-shaded art style, you will go off the beaten path.
I'm going to put in, I haven't played this, but because I want to play it, Hollow Knight. I like the design of Hollow Knight, so I've appreciated looking at Hollow Knight trailers there. That's my excuse for nominating it. Favorite Nintendo 3DS title: Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Detective Pikachu, Luigi's Mansion, Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology, WarioWare Gold.
For the same reason as best writing, I'm nominating WarioWare Golds. Really good, really funny game.
I'm going to vote WarioWare Gold too. I haven't played any of these. I played the demo of WarioWare Gold, and I feel like it's the perfect title the perfect title for the 3DS with a bunch of mini games. It fits the system perfectly. I did want to play Luigi's Mansion, but just never got around to purchasing it, which is okay. And I think WarioWare Gold is a more perfect 3DS game, where Luigi's Mansion is still more fit for the GameCube.
I actually got Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for Christmas. I haven't got the chance to play it yet, but it is a guaranteed play this year. So I'll let you know next year what I thought of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think I've bought any of these games either. Obviously, they're mostly, well, 3 of the 5 are remakes or re-releases or whatever. I do think Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is extremely good, and I love this game completely. So it being on the 3DS, it taking advantage of the 3D feature is a really cool thing. And I think it is something people should buy. It's one of those situations, of course, where it's also on the Switch. And to be honest, if I'm such a big fan that I might buy it on the 3DS just to see what that's like, and then if I feel like playing it in 5 years again, I might buy it on the Switch as well. But that would be just so vain, because that's buying the same game 3 times. But yeah, other than that, I do think in terms of the most exciting or the favorite 3DS release, I think I might go with WarioWare Gold as well, because there's a lot of good WarioWare games out there. We've talked about it in past episodes, and now we get to play a bunch of the mini games from all across the series in this one convenient location. And that's pretty cool. WarioWare is always an amazing experience, no matter which one you play. So I think just being able to have all the best mini games, micro games, of which there might, I don't even know how many there are now. There might be 1,500 plus or something. So it's really cool to just have a hand-picked selection of that just to dabble with.
Favorite Nintendo Switch title: Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Octopath Traveler, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Eevee, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Country. I'm going to put in my fairly obvious vote here. Octopath Traveler, single player game. I have been playing a lot of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I really like it, but as time goes on, You probably don't play as much multiplayer when it's not the holidays as you do a single player game. So that's my logic for voting Octopath.
Yeah, I totally agree. I tend to just want to play single player games most of the time, and honestly, I've done that since I was a kid. And in addition to that, I'm not that great at fighting games, and I'm not particularly prone to liking them as much. Super Smash Brothers is the exception, but it's the only exception. And unfortunately, I would still rather play something like any single player experience. And for me, I'm gonna actually go with Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze for this year, and that's because I played it before. I want to buy it on Switch so I can play it again. I just think that masterful 2D platforming experience is just undefeatable. Having that quintessential single player experience will always beat anything else for me, no matter what it is. If it's not a 3D action adventure, it's the 2D platformers I go for.
Yeah, I'm going to throw my vote out for Octopath Traveler just by virtue of being the only non-sequel game on this list. Well done, Octopath Traveler, for being such a successful new IP, capturing so many people's attention and being such a good solid follow-up to that old genre that's been crying out for something like this for a long time. Smash Bros. Ultimate will ultimately get my vote in the end, but respect Octopath Traveler. I respect Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze because it deserved the new Switch audience they didn't get on Wii U.
Favorite miscellaneous title? Just Dance 2019 Wii, Dragalia Lost, mobile.
Oh, I thought this was when I made the list of categories. I thought this would be bigger than I thought it was, but the Wii U really just went, didn't it? It's gone. And I thought Nintendo would have more mobile offerings, but all we had this year was Dragalia Lost. Carried on with Fire Emblem Heroes and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and we still haven't heard anything about Mario Kart Tour. So I might take this whole category down. I haven't decided yet. I saw that when the nomination thread went up, you included Bookworm Adventures 2. What was that even on? What was it?
To be honest, I think someone just posted that as a joke, and then I added it into the post before I realized it was a joke. I don't know for sure, but it's I don't know. It was such a dry post out of all the other posts on the subreddit where we were gathering it. I was pretty desperate to think of any example, but I think that Dragalia Lost is pretty indisputable if you consider that it's a new IP from Nintendo, and it's I think it's been relatively well received. It's a really cool RPG on mobile, and nobody has been harmed in the making of this game. Like, we thought maybe they might try to put Xenoblade on mobile or something like that. That might be not so great for the series overall. Might be one of those things that no one asked for. So Nintendo played it safe with Dragalia Lost by making it a new IP, and I think it's kind of neat. It's not necessarily my type of game, but it seems like something that a lot of people can appreciate. So there's at least that. It's pretty exciting, and I don't know, Just Dance is always neat and awesome, and I'm glad people like that series too, because you can't go wrong. It's just, there's a new one every year, so you'll never be out of options when it comes to that series.
I put in my vote for Just Dance because it just keeps dancing and it will never die.
Can't go wrong.
Just dance. Just keep
dancing. So that's words to live by.
Favorite ongoing game? Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, Pokemon Go, Sonic Mania, Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion, or Super Mario Odyssey? Balloon. I don't know what the name's called. The balloon mode.
Yeah, but it's not mostly the Balloon World, but also all the support it's had this year. It's got new costumes pretty consistently every few weeks. Don't know why. But it's fun that it does. Balloon World is really fun. That's why I nominated it. I got a last minute nomination in for Super Mario Odyssey's Balloon World. I felt Super Mario Odyssey was such a complete game So much content, huge, massive worlds. How many moons in total? I don't know how many unique ones. Well over 250, I know that.
It's in the 800s or 900s, I think. It's pretty up there. So
I know you need a lot of moons, but you buy a lot of them, so I don't think they count.
if you count the one you can buy, like you buy one in each world and you count just that first one you purchased as a
Yeah.
unique one, I think that gets you all the way up to 800 to 900-ish. It's not, yeah,
Wow.
it's somewhere around there. I forget the exact number, but it's a lot of moons for sure.
You got all that content, and then when you beat the game, you get like double the content again, and then all those extra, and then you get the two darker sides of the moon and the darkest side of the moon. All that. I don't think people wanted DLC. I don't think people like felt they needed it. It was a complete game. It had more than enough content. People obviously wanted more because it was so good, but they didn't want more because they didn't think they got enough the first time. So then Nintendo just adds a multiplayer mode in January, and it's not a two players playing at the same time sort of multiplayer mode is, but it's like a whole social aspect they built around the platforming and the screenshot and the video sharing and seeing these incredible plays that people post on Twitter, posted on social media. It's such a fun, exhilarating game, and you become, the more you play it, the better at Mario you become. You do these ridiculous like speed running tactics that you thought that you'd never be capable of. You become the sort of player you would watch in a marathon, not the sort of player that you thought you'd ever actually dedicate your time to becoming, because it's so fun, it's so addictive, and it's a really good way of making a single game player and giving it this multiplayer social aspect. I really admire that.
I'm going to go the opposite way, and that's a very compelling reason for Super Mario Odyssey, and you almost flipped me, but I'm going to go for, and I played Pokemon Go on occasion, but I haven't played any of these other games. Back to my point, I'm going to go the opposite and go Splatoon 2 Octo Expansion for pretty much the same reason, just opposite, that the single player DLC is a really unique twist on a multiplayer game that intertwines a lot of puzzles and a lot of the multiplayer mechanics in an almost like shrine way from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it also assists the player in getting better at the multiplayer aspects of the game because it takes the best of those and implements them into a single player puzzle like platforming shooting type of game. There's a lot packed into Octo Expansion.
I totally agree. Splatoon 2 is just the ultimate multiplayer game on the Switch, in my opinion, because, you know, Smash is, of course, amazing, and there's a few slightly different modes, but it's kind of centered around this one act, and that is fighting against each other. But with Splatoon 2, you can do all sorts of different things, and I love all the different modes that you can play, all the different clothes you can buy, and weapons you can try out. And so to get this really substantial expansion to Splatoon 2 was amazing as well. And I don't know, I really like the Splatoon IP, and usually I'm not very receptive to new games right away, but when I played Splatoon on the Wii U, it was just an instant classic to me. And so to see Splatoon 2 continue to thrive this year is amazing. I'm loving it.
Favorite game that was not on a Nintendo console. Now we can give some love to the non-Nintendo. The nominations we have are Deltarune, God of War, Monster Hunter World, Red Dead Redemption 2, or Spider-Man.
I haven't played all of these, to be fair, but I think I am without a doubt a major fan of Rockstar, and so everything they produce is just amazing to me. And Red Dead Redemption 2 is no exception. As I've mentioned earlier in this podcast, I played through all of the Grand Theft Autos from the PS2 era, all in quick succession, April and May, and then I was trying to get through Grand Theft Auto 4, but just, you know, anytime Rockstar North makes a open world game. I don't care where it is or what the theme is. It's just amazing. And Red Dead Redemption was just this incredible game where you finally got to be a cowboy running around the Wild West, and now you get to do it again in 4K if you own a PS4 Pro. And so it's just got to be Red Dead Redemption 2. I think that made the most impact out of all of these.
Wow. I nominate Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age on Windows. They took the best Final Fantasy game and they fixed the things that were wrong with it, and they made it even better. And they made the graphics better, and they made the soundtrack better. And it's perfect. It's the best Final Fantasy game. It's really good. And I forgot to nominate it, so we didn't get a chance at ranking this round.
Just side note, but I am working through Octopath Traveler because I know that Final Fantasy XII releases this year, and I am going to buy it in the second half of the year and play it because you've convinced me to.
Oh, you don't have enough time for Final Fantasy 12 and
I'll
Okami
probably,
HD.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll flip a coin. Let fate decide.
Realistically, and I loved Final Fantasy 12, play until you get all 6 party members, and then play a little bit more, and then play until you're done. When you feel like the game is done, switch it off. Don't try and force yourself to finish it because it's a JRPG and it's too long. That's the only complaint. It's too long. I played 300 hours. I think.
Oh my gosh! Oh wow!
12.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I did 100% it, which is crazy for a JRPG. I played that because I loved it. I don't expect... I don't recommend anybody else repeat that experience.
That's really impressive. My nomination for this game is going to go to Monster Hunter World. I actually played about 2 hours of this game. I bought it on sale for my PC and then returned it on Steam because it wasn't running on my little laptop. But that's okay. It was still a fun 2 hours of really laggy graphics. It's the quintessential Monster Hunter experience, and they managed to make it an accessible game to newcomers, but still maintain a lot of the niche little fighting things, but you're not fighting with a controller anymore. They simplified the combat system so you can actually see how much damage you're doing to a monster. All the weird gimmicks though, and the different classes are still there. The palicos are still there. The world looks amazing. It's bigger, badder monsters. It's a really cool game, and I wish my PC could run it. My laptop. I don't have a PC laptop. Last but definitely not least, most anticipated games of 2019. Untitled Animal Crossing game for Nintendo Switch, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Untitled Goose Game, Luigi's Mansion 3, Untitled Pokemon game for Nintendo Switch.
Untitled Goose Game. It's for me, anticipation and going to buy are two different words. So Animal Crossing, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I know what it is. It's an Animal Crossing game. There's nothing it can do to surprise me. I feel like maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Maybe they'll do something crazy, but all I know about it right now is it's gonna be an HD Animal Crossing. Fire Emblem, more Fire Emblem. Luigi's Mansion, surprised it's coming back, but it's more Luigi's Mansion. Pokemon game, it's gonna be a Pokemon game. And I'm looking forward to seeing the new Pokemon. But Untitled Goose Game looks like it's the best game I never knew I wanted. I never knew I wanted to be a naughty goose. I never knew I wanted to honk at people and make them fall over into a pond. I really can't wait for Untitled Goose Game. I hope this wins. I know it won't. I hope it wins. It's so cute. I love it. I love that trailer that they showed. They showed it too early. Angry that I'm scared it will be a 2020 release. I want this game now.
Geese are pretty compelling. I once was on a walk and I stopped and I spent about 30 to 40 minutes just watching a pack of 3 geese torture people that tried to come up to them, and dogs were trying to mess with them, and it was a really good way to spend 30 to 40 minutes. So it will probably be a good couple of hours playing this game. I'm gonna go ahead and give mine to Untitled Goose Game as well. I'd say anticipation, yes, is different than curiosity, and if we were for curiosity, my runner-up would be Pokemon, because they've said it's gonna be Breath of the Wild in scale, and I've loved the Pokemon universe, but I've never liked playing the games, so I'm really curious what they're gonna do. But yeah, anticipation, I can't wait to see evil geese run amok.
If Ketchup is in Animal Crossing, then I'll change my vote. But that isn't confirmed yet.
And Animal Crossing is what I'm most excited for, because I love Animal Crossing and I know what it is.
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for earlier. I'm excited about all these games, but I'm anticipating Untitled Goose Game.
Untitled Goose Game is probably indisputable, but at the same time, as a hardcore Animal Crossing fan, I can't contain my excitement for it, and I don't think anything can ever really compete with that. Now, if Pokemon does end up being on the same scales as Breath of the Wild, that could actually blow me away. But I'm very skeptical about that because I have no precedent to confirm that I can trust that statement is true. So what I do know is that I love Animal Crossing pretty much no matter what it ends up being, so long as it's a main series title. Although I'm one of the few who even thinks Amiibo Festival's okay. It's not the best out there. But anyways, it's going to be this awesome first player experience. I can't wait for Animal Crossing. And honestly, I can't wait for pretty much any of these games, to be honest. So there's no wrong choice here. But yeah, Animal Crossing for me.
I'm almost scared for Animal Crossing to come out, because it's going to be such a time sink.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be like I'm going to play for 10 hours a day for the first week. And then after that, I'm going to have established some sort of routine that will, at minimum, take 20 minutes a day. And then I will play it for years. And I don't know why, but it's just what I do. And I love every second of it.
Well, thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of Hello Nintendo. Thank you for listening to us for the past hour ramble on about the best of 2018 and what we are looking forward to in 2019 now that 2018 is in the books. I hope you'll listen to more of us in 2019. Come into the comments and tell us what your favorite 2018 games and what you're looking forward to in 2019. As always, you can find me on Twitter at ACL Haynes or Reddit, user The Scottish Lion. Ketchup, where can people find you on Twitter?
Find me at Sam P. Lockhart, Lockhart.
And Michael?
You can find me on Twitter. Michael R. Swenson is my current handle. I'm looking for a new one, though, so if you have any suggestions, let me know.
Wait, what happened to Mikey? What was it? Mikey Cools? Mikey
Swags or Mikey Swens. Yeah, that's true too. Those are the current winners. So I don't know. I'll take votes for a week and then I'll have to make a decision.
Swaggy Michael P. That sounds like a really cool rapper name.
Yes, you can't go wrong. That's for sure.
Thank you very much for listening. Next week, we probably won't have a direct. Nintendo is doomed. They're shutting down. Goodbye.